Oh my goodness, huge crypto news, guys. We talked about how big this could be in the coming days, the coming weeks. We knew the Ethereum ETFs was a big deal, but we had been talking about just how big of a deal this was too, guys. This is absolutely huge crypto news, guys. Welcome in. So make sure you guys share this out. We're going to wait for some people to pop on here. This is mega crypto news. Absolutely insane, guys. Absolutely insane what we've got going on here, what we've got cooking up. Welcome in, guys. Huge crypto news. Crazy. Wow. Absolutely nuts what we've got going on right now in crypto. Wow. Welcome in, guys. Welcome. Wow. Okay, we're going to get into it, guys. Let's go. Wow. I can't even believe it. It passed. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We're going to get into all the good news. Welcome. Insane. And we've got a ton more of the 19B4 filings, the Ethereum ETF filings today. We are just loaded with good news. Okay, we're going to get into all of it, guys. Insane day for crypto. Both the mini trust filings from Grayscale and BlackRock are in. Bitwise's filings are in for the 19B. We're still waiting on the S1, so those will be coming in. But this is huge. It passed. On agreeing to the resolution, the Democrats and Republicans, unbelievably, actually came together and got this thing done. So we're going to break down what this means for crypto, guys, in the video. Don't worry. This is great news. The FIT21 bill to allow the CFTC to oversee digital assets has passed in the House. 204 to 203. Guys, the SEC doesn't have control of crypto anymore. I don't understand. I don't think you guys realize how big of a deal this is. This is absolutely insane. Down goes the SEC. Guys, this is mega news. We're going to break it down. All right, so let me change the title just so people understand this is about the SEC. But we've got a ton of good news. We've got Ethereum ETF. This is massive. This is absolutely massive. The FIT21 bill to allow the CFTC to control and oversee digital asset passes in the House. We talked about how big this was. Everybody was talking about Ethereum ETFs. I said this is just as big. And wow. Down goes the SEC in crypto. Crazy. All right, so we're going to make sense of it. This was the big question, right? Like who is going to win this big battle, okay? So I want to bring you guys inside and give you guys a little glimpse of what happened here today. I'm going to play a little clip. This is Patrick McHenry delivering the remarks on the House floor, guys, in support of FIT21, which will cement the United States' global leadership in technological innovation, invention, and adoption. I'm going to turn it over here and allow him to kind of break things down for you. This is Patrick McHenry. I'm going to show you guys what's going on my screen here. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. And you guys can listen into this, and then obviously we'll break this down even further. But take a listen to this, guys.
Today, Congress will establish a new high watermark for digital asset policy. To be clear, this joint effort between the Financial Services Committee and the Agriculture Committee did not come together overnight, far from it. We've formed subcommittees, convened working groups, heard from countless stakeholders, and received input from members across the ideological spectrum in the House of Representatives. Last July, we passed the Bipartisan Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, FIT21, out of our respective committees. Each step in this process is create a new high water mark. The next step will be a broad bipartisan vote today to finally provide the robust consumer protections and clear regulatory framework established by this bill. FIT21 will cement the United States' global leadership in technological innovation, invention, and adoption. Unfortunately, our current regulatory framework is preventing digital assets innovation from reaching its full potential. The SEC and the CFTC are currently in a food fight for control of these asset classes. They've created an impossible situation where the same firms are subject to competing and contradictory enforcement actions by the two different agencies, leaving consumers behind, leaving innovators behind. FIT21 fixes this by creating a regulatory framework that will provide clear rules of the road and strong guardrails for the Americans engaging with the digital asset ecosystem. At its core, FIT21 applies time-tested consumer protections to ensure that 20% of Americans who engage in the digital asset ecosystem can do so safely, and so more Americans can engage as well. Today, we have the opportunity to answer the calls of consumers, digital asset innovators, and the Biden administration. We can establish the next high watermark for digital assets here in the United States. I urge my colleagues to support consumer protection, innovation, and American leadership by voting for FIT21.
And after that, it went through, guys. Unbelievable. The vote goes through, and we're going to break it down. We're going to give you guys up-to-speed insights and information here on how big this really is. This is enormous, okay? So what I want you guys to do is smash that like button. I'm going to go get my headphones because some people said there was an echo and all of that. I get it. But no worries, because this is huge. Been absolutely destroyed for how long? And got to a point where they don't have control. They're not going to have the control that they've had for the past however long. They've stunted innovation. They've stopped growth in this industry, and the keys are getting turned over to another party who wants to innovate. This is huge. This is massive. And don't get it twisted. This is exactly why the Ethereum ETF conversations started heating up when they did. We knew about this FIT bill. We knew that it was aligning perfectly. The stars were aligning. They knew that this thing was probably going to get passed. That's why they've started the processes with the Ethereum ETFs. Get all your paperwork in, right? Get it in fast. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. That's why. This is why it all makes sense now. Because this was in preparation of the CFTC taking control back. Instead of this tug of war BS, the SEC, the CFTC. Remember, the CFTC, they handle commodities. The SEC handles securities. This is huge. This is huge. Absolutely enormous, guys. I don't think you understand how big this day is for us. If you guys haven't hit the like button, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'm here every single day. There's a quick freaking, thing to do. Just hit the subscribe button. I'm here every single day. You can count on me. I'll be here rocking with you guys. This is massive. This is absolutely massive, okay? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And we're going to break it down from a lot of different perspectives, hear what people are saying, see what people are doing, and basically get to the bottom of this and what it actually means for this entire industry, guys. And again, if you guys are just tuning in, the FIT21 bill to allow the CFTC to oversee digital assets passed in the House 204 to 203. Barely passed. Barely got through, but we got through. That's all that matters, is that we got through. It happened, okay? So appreciate all the new people popping in. Appreciate everybody rocking with us. Let's get into what this means. Let's take a look at the markets. Let's see what's happening. Of course, the markets are starting to pump a little bit here on the news. Things are turning here in the last hour, to be expected. Ethereum getting back up to 70 3750. We're going to break things down here from the Twitter side of things. A lot to get into. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. Patrick McHenry, who you just heard from here on this stream, he says it is past time for Congress to provide clear rules of the road for digital asset ecosystem. The American people deserve legislation to ensure consumer protection and allow innovation to thrive in this country. Watch my remarks in support of the bipartisan FIT21 Act. We just played what McHenry said. He's been a huge advocate for us. That's been huge. That's massive, okay? This entire digital asset ecosystem has just been plagued due to the lack of regulation, the lack of clarity. Like, do you understand how many people have been stunted? How many people have not been able to build what they want to build, right? Because of this. This is huge. This is huge. And now there's going to be, I think this is laying the foundation for clear regulatory guidelines on what's happening in our space. The fact that this passed is just enormous, guys. I don't think you realize how big this is because it was the SEC. It was the SEC who kept us down for a really, really long time. Really, really long time. And no longer, right? So again, the FIT bill, the FIT21 bill to allow the CFTC to oversee digital assets passed in the House. Pretty big, okay? Pretty big news. This is huge. So there is definitely a slow but surely there's a pivot, okay, right now happening with crypto. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Top gainers right now, we've got WIF up 14%, Book of Meme up 12%. We've got Fetch 9%, Pepe 9%, Gala 9%, AGIX 9%, that's Singularity Net. We've got Bonk making a push up 8%, Renders up 8%, Arweave 6%, Floki 5%, Caspa 4% right now. Now, there's going to be more details coming out on this in terms of exactly what this looks like. There's just so much to get into, guys. The other thing that we had today, the UK's FCA has approved Wisdom Tree's Bitcoin and Ethereum ETPs, which is their version of ETFs in the UK. This is massive. This is helping innovation in the UK. Okay, the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, or FCA, has approved Wisdom Tree to list physically backed Bitcoin and Ethereum exchange-traded products on the London Stock Exchange. They are set to launch on May 28th this month. This move is seen as a huge step forward, massive step forward towards mainstream acceptance of crypto in the UK financial markets. And again, both Bitcoin and Ethereum exchange traded products here. They've been approved by Wisdom Tree. These are their ETPs, same thing as ETFs, it's their version of ETFs in the UK. This move is seen as a huge step forward for the UK. So not only are things looking on the up and up in the United States, but in the UK, looking on the up and up. We had a great Twitter space this morning talking about this. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter. My links are down below if you guys are interested in following me there. Definitely do. We talk about everything going on in crypto over there too. We have unbelievable Twitter spaces where we can collaborate. You guys can come up on stage and everybody's welcome. It's amazing. So huge step forward today for the entire industry, guys. These ETPs in the UK are available only to professional investors right now. But again, it's massive because it unlocks the new narrative around crypto. It's a new narrative around crypto in the UK as well as the United States. So absolutely huge news coming out here on that front. So again, right now, the House is voting on pro-crypto legislation FIT21, which sets up a pathway for cryptocurrencies. And let's listen in live here. This is live coverage on what's going on right now. Live coverage. We'll listen in.
Digital asset markets are no exception. As these markets have grown, they've lacked congressional guidance over who has regulatory and enforcement authority over them. Currently, participants are at the mercy of regulators who continue to assert jurisdiction and extend their authority through enforcement actions, all without legislation or direction from Congress. I urge my colleagues to support this bill to establish a framework consistent with existing financial market requirements while acknowledging the uniqueness of digital assets. We can and should give consumers, developers, and institutions a clear set of rules that provide certainty as they explore this new innovative technology. Digital assets and related blockchain technology have the potential to lead us to the next generation of internet technology. Everyone here should want America to be a place where this flourishes, and that is what FIT21 does. It allows America to build on this potential. If we do not act now, we cede American leadership, talent, and innovation. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on FIT21, and Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
The gentleman from North Carolina reserves. The gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Continue to reserve the balance.
The gentleman from California reserves. The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
I'll now yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Flood, a great legislator in the digital asset innovation space.
The gentleman from Nebraska is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to focus on one particular aspect of this bill. It is responsive exactly to the problems in the digital assets market that we've seen over the last couple of years. In the aftermath of the collapse of FTX in 2022, we need to ensure that there are investor protection rules that prevent anything from happening like that again in the United States. Under the regulatory structure created by this bill, FTX would not have been able to register. FTX would not have been able to commingle customer funds that hurt so many of their investors. Some of my friends on the other side of the aisle have spoken about protecting investors. The great irony is that they are opposing a bill that would do just that. If you believe in investor protection, if you believe we need to respond to the disaster of FTX, then we need to pass a bill that would prevent the next FTX. The status quo will not work. It did not work in 2022, and it will not work today. With that, I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves.
Continue to reserve the balance of my time. Do they have? I continue to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady from California reserves. Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
I'm going to now recognize for 1 minute the gentleman from Tennessee, great leader in the Agriculture and Financial Services Committee, Mr. Rose.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of H.R. 4763, the Financial Innovation and Technology, or FIT, for the 21st Century Act. As a member of the House Financial Services and Agriculture Committees, I am proud to support this bill, and its product is a joint effort between both committees. I commend both Chairman McHenry and Chairman Thompson for working on this bipartisan legislation. This bill confronts the litigation-heavy approach towards digital assets of the Securities and Exchange Commission, led by rogue regulator Gary Gensler. Chair Gensler has blown past the SEC's statutory mandate and instead forced investors and companies to operate in the dark, thus risking the United States standing as a world leader in digital innovation. The Fit for the 21st Century Act will allow the U.S. to reclaim our place as a world leader in innovation and provides clear rules of the road for cryptocurrencies. I urge members to join me in voting yes.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves. Gentlelady from California is recognized.
Continue to reserve the balance.
Gentlelady from California reserves. Gentleman from
May I inquire how much time is remaining?
7 minutes remaining. Gentlelady from California has 4 minutes remaining.
I'll now recognize the gentleman from Oklahoma, a leader on the Agriculture Committee, former chair of the Agriculture Committee, and a great leader on the Financial Services Committee. Also chair of the Science Committee, before I forget. Frank will yield you 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The United States has no meaningful federal regulation of the digital assets markets, and the attempts by regulators to apply existing laws are arbitrary and unclear. The fact is, the status quo does not work. Without a clear federal framework, we fail to provide adequate consumer protections and forfeit our international competitiveness. This hurts U.S. consumers, investors, and the entire economy. This is why this bill is so important. The legislation establishes a market structure framework that accounts for the unique characteristics of digital assets, adhering to the core principles of the Commodities Exchange Act. U.S. consumers are actively participating in the digital asset market, and we should ensure they are protected from fraud and scams. This bill does that. I'd like to thank Chairman McHenry and Chairman Thompson for all their work on this legislation, and I urge my colleagues to support the bill. And I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves. Gentlelady from California is recognized.
I continue to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady from California reserves. Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
We'll now recognize the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Heisinger, who is the chair of the Oversight Subcommittee on the House Financial Services Committee. Yield 1 minute.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman McHenry. And Mr. Speaker, since First Cryptocurrency Network was created nearly 15 years ago, the rules governing the digital asset ecosystem have remained unclear. As I learned while serving as chairman of the Capital Markets Committee, regulators have been using opaque guidelines and regulation by enforcement. Meanwhile, Congress has been working on a bipartisan path forward. Digital assets have the potential to revolutionize payment systems in the United States by allowing financial systems to become more efficient and more accessible to consumers. By passing a comprehensive market structure framework, responsible actors will now have greater certainty and consumers will have greater protection from bad actors. Mr. Speaker, our markets are the envy of the world. We must not cede any ground. American innovation is a critical element of job creation and economic opportunity here in the United States. Congress must look to preserve this competitive advantage and not let it leave our shores. The FIT21 Act is a historic first step, and I urge all of my colleagues to support this legislation, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves. Gentlelady from California.
I continue to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
Does the gentlelady have any additional speakers?
Yes, no more speakers. If the gentleman has no more speakers, I'm prepared to close.
All right, I now recognize the gentlelady from California, Ms. Kim, for 1 minute.
Recognized.
Thank you, Chairman McHenry. Millions of Americans from all backgrounds see digital assets as one of the many options to take wealth creation into their own hands. Unfortunately, U.S. is falling behind compared to other countries, and we have yet to establish a viable regulatory framework for digital assets. H.R. 4763 established a much-needed digital asset market structure framework that provides clear rules for digital asset firms while providing robust consumer protections. Thus, I believe this bill is very fit for the 21st century. The FIT21 Act would enable innovation to flourish and the United States to lead the world in the development of digital assets. The EU, the UK, Hong Kong, and the list goes on, have established or are in the process of establishing a regulatory framework. The development of technologies and new financial services tools should be taking place here, not elsewhere. I urge a yes vote on H.R. 4763, and with that, I yield the balance of my time.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves. Gentlelady from California continues to reserve. Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
I now yield to the chair of the House Administration Committee and a great member of the Financial Services Committee and Innovation Policy, Mr. Stile, for 1 minute.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the FIT21 Act. Blockchain and digital assets are transforming finance and reshaping, in particular, the way the internet works. But responsible innovators are being held back by stubborn Washington bureaucrats. It's pushing jobs and opportunities overseas. For the first time in generations, the U.S. is at risk of missing out on leading the next wave of technology. FIT21 provides clear rules for digital assets and related businesses. It protects consumers and strengthens transparency and accountability. And it reestablishes the United States as a technology leader. I urge my colleagues to support the bill and bring jobs and opportunities and innovation in digital assets to the United States. I yield back.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves. Gentlelady from California continues to reserve.
Continue to reserve the balance of my time.
And the gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
I'll now yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Utah, Mr. Curtis.
Gentleman is recognized.
I rise in favor of the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, which establishes much-needed regulatory framework for digital assets. Currently, the lack of clear direction from Congress, combined with the broad definitions of securities and commodities, has allowed the SEC to insert itself into the regulation of cryptocurrency. This has created uncertainty and hindered innovation. Meanwhile, other countries like Singapore, UAE, and even China have capitalized on our unclear regulatory environment. They've developed their own framework, positioning themselves as hubs for the digital asset ecosystem. I believe the United States, and particularly Utah's Silicon Slopes, which boasts a growing and thriving blockchain industry, should be the global center for digital assets. This bill creates an appropriate framework for cryptocurrency regulation that fosters innovation and ensures U.S. leadership in blockchain technology, while also protecting against bad actors like FTX. The FIT for the 21st Century Act realigns the SEC with its appropriate regulatory role and designates the Commodity Future Trading Commission as the primary regulatory of cryptocurrency as a commodity. It also clarifies the SEC's roles in regulating digital assets. With that, I yield my time.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves. Gentlelady from California is recognized.
Continue to reserve the balance of my time.
And Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to close, and I reserve.
Gentlelady from California is recognized.
Mr. Chair, I yield myself the balance of the time.
Is recognized.
Yes, as we have heard today, the entities that stand to benefit from this bill are not ordinary investors trying to build wealth, but rather the crypto firms that have chosen to register with the SEC or otherwise comply with the security laws. They have already made billions of dollars unlawfully issuing or facilitating the buying and selling of crypto securities. And Republicans are now proposing to reward these illegal activities by making these activities legal. And this is truly preposterous. You know, Mr. Lynch, when he spoke, he said this was one of the worst pieces of legislation he has experienced through his entire career. And I understand why. When I examine this bill and I see that the Republicans had created this new definition. And this new definition is known as the investment contract assets. Now, we've talked about this, but, you know, even in the Rules Committee, while they were, you know, talking about how this bill was going to protect consumers, they did not debate us about this investment contract asset because they know that it created a void. It created a no man's land. This was created basically so that the crypto companies could be in a space without regulation. But it goes further than that. It also covers traditional securities so they can be in a space without regulation. It is not enough to say this is a bad bill. This is not only a bad bill, this is a bill where the crypto companies decided they didn't like the SEC, They do not want to be regulated, and they were going to come to the Congress of the United States, and they were going to use their power, and they were going to use their influence to change the rules of the game, and that they were going to now go to where the commodities are regulated, and they're going to take the securities over there. I explained to you that the CFTC is a small agency. I explained to you that they don't have a lot of money. I explained to you how much smaller they are than the SEC. The SEC are the experts. It is 90 years old in the development of regulations for this country, and it is 90 years old, and it is respected all over the world. We're the envy of the world because we have an SEC. And so when I talk about this void that has been created, there is no way that the members of this Congress can allow that to happen, to allow this no man's land to exist, where the same crypto companies that are now refusing to register, who are unlawful, that you're going to exonerate, and then you're going to further give them the opportunity to operate without regulation. This is unbelievable. How can this happen in the Congress of the United States, in the House of Representatives, where we are supposed to represent the people? We have an SEC that is a cop on the block. We have an SEC that is expert in securities. This SEC goes into the courts and they fight tough battles. These battles are long. These battles are hard because they're fought by the crypto companies, but they don't give up because at least they have people who can begin to work on it. We try to give them more money to do their work, but they are denied additional appropriation by the opposite of the aisle.
Chair Lady's time's expired.
And I ask the chair, how much time do I have remaining?
2 minutes remaining.
Pardon
2
me?
minutes.
I urge a no vote.
I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman's
Let me
recognized.
speak to this. The void is a lack of a definition of what is a digital asset in federal law. We have none. This bill established it. We have no consumer protections for crypto today. This bill establishes it, both at the CFTC with a robust oversight of this industry and the SEC with real clarity. That's what this bill does, is provide clarity for investors and consumers and innovators. We are falling behind Europe. This bill catches up so that we do not lose out on innovation policy to the Europeans, to the folks in the UK, to Singapore, to Japan, to Hong Kong, that all have regimes similar to what we're doing in this bill. This is an important bill. It's bipartisan work. Hundreds of hours have been put into developing this with members and staff. And I want to thank the great partnership that I've had with French Hill on the Financial Services Committee and Chairman G.T. Thompson on the Ag Committee and Dusty Johnson on the Ag Committee. But I also want to thank the great staff on the House Financial Services Committee, Allison Mahuniak, who has shepherded this bill to this point, and Paul Balzano on the Ag Committee. They have worked in great partnership and friendship and worked through major issues. And I want to thank them for this important legislative product. We can promote American innovation, consumer protection, and leadership with a clear regulatory framework for digital assets. The next generation of internet technology is being written. It should be written by American innovators here in the United States. We can allow that innovation to pass us by, or we can seize the opportunity and pass this bill to provide real clarity for innovation policy here in the United States. Regulatory clarity and consumer protection, that is FIT21. Let's vote yes on this bill and establish bipartisan support for crypto in America. And I yield back.
Yields. All time for general debate has expired. Pursuant to the rule, the bill should be considered for amendment under the 5-minute rule. In lieu of the amendments in the nature of substitute recommended by the Committee on Agriculture and Financial Services, printed in the bill, an amendment in the nature of substitute consisting of the text of the Rules Committee print 118-33, modified by the amendment printed in the House Part A of House Report 118-516, shall be considered as adopted. The bill, as amended, shall be considered as the original bill for purpose of further amendment under the 5-minute rule and shall be considered as read. No further amendment to the bill as amended shall be in order, except those printed in Part B of House Report 118-516. Each such further amendment may be offered only in the order printed in the report by a member designated in the report, shall be considered read, shall be debatable for a time specified in the report, equally divided and controlled by the proponent and opponent, shall not be subject to amendment, and shall not be subject to a demand for division of the question. It is now in order to consider amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report 118-516. For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I have an amendment at the desk made in order by the rule.
Clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-516, offered by Mr. Kassar of Texas.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1243, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Kassar, and a member for opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas.
Thank you. I yield myself as much time as I may use.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Chair, from 2017 to 2022, Americans who invested in the SSP index received about a 61% return on their investment. But Americans who invested in one of the top 12 cryptocurrencies that existed during that 5-year period did not make money. On the other hand, on average, they lost about half of their money. 3 out of every 4 Bitcoin traders during that time period also lost money. From FTX to Celsius to blockchain ATMs, the industry has repeatedly lost everyday Americans their money. So whether you are a crypto booster or a crypto skeptic, we can all agree, based on the facts, that crypto investment is a risk. And since it is a risk, we should want more oversight to protect Americans. But this bill before us today doesn't provide us more regulation. It doesn't even provide many Americans the same level of regulation as traditional finance. Instead, it creates a light touch regulatory regime that can be manipulated by bad actors in both crypto and traditional finance, putting Americans and our 90-year securities laws at risk. My amendment focuses on one key area where everyday people who would invest in crypto under this bill will in fact receive less protection than Americans invested in traditional finance. The current flawed bill before us creates a crowdfunding registration exemption for crypto that is 15 times weaker than the crowdfunding exemption that exists in traditional finance. In the existing bill before us, someone could crowdfund up to $75 million from everyday Americans, and those Americans would receive just the most minimal of protections. We would never allow that in the non-crypto finance world. So my amendment changes the exemption cap to $5 million, putting that cap in line with our current laws. So at the very least, Americans making investments in crypto can get the same level of protection as crowdfunding investors in traditional finance. I hope that whether you are for the underlying bill or against the underlying bill like me, we can agree that this common sense amendment will help protect everyday people, and I urge everyone to support it. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Texas reserves. Does the gentleman from North Carolina?
I rise in opposition.
Gentleman's recognized.
And I'm opposed to the amendment. Look, today, digital asset issuers rely on exemptions under current securities, the current securities regime. And each exemption includes its own requirements under traditional securities law. What we provide in this act is purpose-built for digital assets. And what this does today, if you're raising money for a digital asset offering, the exemption is built for those other types of securities in the space. The SEC's disclosure regime is supposed to give investors the information they need to make informed decisions, but it's not built for digital assets. What we do in this act is provide certain disclosures for investors in digital assets, such as source code, token supply, governance mechanisms, and other aspects unique to crypto. That's what this bill does. What the gentleman from is rising to do is limit that aperture from $75 million to $5 million of those folks that can invest in these early stage innovations. What he's doing is restricting the opportunity for average everyday investors to get options like high wealth investors get today under securities law. The original exemption for regulation crowdfunding was something we put in law and with bipartisan support. With Maxine Waters is my co-sponsor on regulation crowdfunding. This very exemption. I've enhanced this. I put additional requirements here to make sure there are more disclosures, and we open up the aperture to $75 million so more folks can participate and so those blockchains can develop. When you make it to $5 million, it makes it impossible for you to actually scale up, especially with these inflationary times that our people are facing. So what I would urge is the House reject this amendment. The gentleman's arguments against this exemption have nothing to do with the exemption, but have everything to do with opposition to the bill. And I urge a no vote, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from North Carolina reserves. Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
I now yield 1 minute to the distinguished gentlewoman from California, Ranking Member Waters.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. I'd like to thank the gentleman from Texas for attempting this amendment. As a matter of fact, there have been any number of members from this side of the aisle who've been attempting to amend this bill to try and make it better. And while I have great respect for all of those attempts, and if they had listened, if they had accepted, perhaps they could have made this a better bill. But at this point in time, no. Unfortunately, with all the work that this gentleman had done, Mr. Kassar and others, they will not accept any amendments. They're not going to accept his amendment. They don't think that the bill can be made better. And unfortunately, the bill is so bad, I don't think it can be made better either. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Texas reserves. The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
I'm prepared to close, and I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
I'm prepared to close and yield myself the balance of the time.
The gentleman is recognized.
Our securities laws were created after the Great Depression, when this country understood that strong regulation protects Americans and is necessary for innovation and for our economy to thrive. We cannot hold cryptocurrency to a lower standard than traditional finance. And my amendment ensures that when it comes to crowdfunding, cryptocurrency is held to the same standard, and I urge all to support it. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
If I may inquire of the chair, the time I have remaining.
Gentleman has 3 minutes.
Well, thank you. Let me close with this, Mr. Chairman. We have this push and pull in the Financial Services Committee. And generally speaking, we have elected officials that say the American people's hard-earned savings are their hard-earned savings. But then we have paternalistic amendments like the one before us today that says, no, you're not smart enough to invest your own money. We have to put in these safeguards to protect you from yourself. I think that goes way too far. What we've done with securities laws is take average, everyday investors and disintermediate them from the greater economy. So average, everyday Americans don't get the benefit of economic growth, of Wall Street doing great, and earnings going up in corporate America. We've separated it because we made it harder for average, everyday folks to invest in companies, have ownership of companies. What we're trying to do is open that up a little bit. From $5 million of an exemption when you're raising money to $75 million. In the scope of our economy, in the scope of our capital markets, in the scope of economic opportunity and innovation, that is a very small aperture we're opening here. And we've done that. We've constructed this provision with a lot of Democrat input and Republican input, and that's how we came to the number of $75 million. It is already a compromise. But what the gentleman offers with this amendment is nothing more than saying, I'm paternalistic, and I'm therefore going to restrict your opportunity to invest your money as you see fit. Reject the amendment, vote no, and vote yes on final passage for FIT21. I yield back.
Gentleman from North Carolina yields. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Texas. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Amendment.
Mr. Speaker.
Does the gentleman from Texas rise?
I'd like to request a recorded vote, Mr. Speaker.
Pursuant to Clause 6, Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Texas will be postponed. It is now in order. Consider amendment number 2, printed in Part B of House Report 118-516. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Colorado seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 2, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-516, offered by Ms. Pedersen of Colorado.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1243, the gentlewoman from Colorado, Ms. Pedersen, and a member of opposed will each control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Colorado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentlewoman is recognized.
More than 20% of Americans have owned or traded cryptocurrency. Despite this, the U.S. still lacks a clear regulatory structure for digital assets, which is hurting American competitiveness and incentivizing some companies, unfortunately, to move overseas. While there may be disagreement about how to best establish the appropriate market regulatory structure, there is broad bipartisan agreement for preventing criminals from using cryptocurrencies for illicit purposes, such as money laundering, terrorist financing, and sanction evasion. My amendment would provide clarity and conformity to how the Bank Secrecy Act and regulations safeguarding our financial system from criminals are applied to digital assets. The base bill already calls for the Bank Secrecy Act to apply to digital assets. However, by amending the BSA directly and explicitly, expanding the definition of financial institution in the BSA to cover digital asset entities, we are providing certainty to the regulators and the Department of Treasury in their authorities to protect our financial system. Additionally, the amendment would also require a study to assess the risks posed by centralized intermediaries based in jurisdictions that lack robust anti-money laundering enforcement. While in most cases, American digital asset companies are already complying with the applicable requirements under the Bank Secrecy Act, we also have to be thinking about the threat of foreign companies with U.S. touchpoints that are not complying with equivalent controls or reporting standards. I would like to thank the Chairman McHenry and Representative Hill for working with me on this issue and their commitment to strengthening the anti-money laundering provisions in this bill. This amendment combined with the underlying bill will help provide more oversight into the digital asset market and support regulators' work to protect consumers and investors. While there is more work to be done to ensure the integrity of our digital assets market, this amendment is an important step forward, and I urge my colleagues to support the adoption of the amendment and the underlying bill. I reserve the balance of my time.
From Colorado Reserves,
Asking you to claim the time in opposition, though I'm not opposed to the amendment. Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to accept this amendment. I think it's important we have a comprehensive regulatory framework for digital asset markets, yes. We also have to ensure that we have a consistent application of the Bank Secrecy Act and anti-money laundering provisions in existing law. Requirements on the digital asset intermediaries and exchanges are necessary so that bad actors don't exploit these markets for nefarious purposes. I want to thank the gentlewoman from Colorado for her work on this amendment. She's been focused on AML, BSA related issues in the build up to us writing FIT21 during the markup process in the Rules Committee, as well as the process, the process in the Financial Services Committee, then the process through the Rules Committee. And I appreciate her sincere engagement on this matter and for coming up with a very good amendment. I urge support of this amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from North Carolina Reserves, gentlelady from Colorado is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm prepared to close, and I yield myself the balance of the time.
Gentlelady is recognized.
I want to again thank the chairman from North Carolina for working with me and others to make sure that you were able to bring a bipartisan bill with broad support to the House. I know that this has been years in the making, and congratulations for getting it to this point, and I appreciate your willingness to work with me. I also want to thank my team for helping me address an issue that I have concerns about, and with that, I ask for your support. And Is that the last thing? I guess that's the last thing I'm supposed to say.
Gentleman from Colorado yields. Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
I'll now recognize the Chair of the Digital Asset Subcommittee on the Financial Services Committee, Mr. Hill, for as much time as he may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank Chairman McHenry. I thank the chair for the time. I want to congratulate the gentlewoman from Colorado on this very effective amendment because she shares that passion that we've all had through this entire process, which is to recognize that we need to have vigorous anti-money laundering, Bank Secrecy Act, and know your customer protections around digital finance, just like we do in the analog financial services system. Her bill will strengthen that. I just was reviewing the Treasury Department's 2024 National Security for Combating Terrorist and Other Illicit Financing, and it brings to mind what a better regime it is to have blockchain. Because a blockchain, Mr. Speaker, has the identity connected with the transaction. It leaves an ineligible mark cryptographically of those transaction amounts, makes illicit finance easier to identify, not less. Treasury points out that the top abusers, the top concern about illicit finance are misuse of cash, including bulk cash, misuse of financial products and services like money orders, easy formation and limited information required to create a legal entity, the use of casinos. That's what the Treasury Department says are the toughest, most challenging aspects of terror finance. And that's why this study will help us make sure that using blockchain is a more effective way to counter illicit finance in the world. So I thank the gentlewoman from Colorado for her support and for being such a constructive source of dynamic support for crafting FIT21, and I yield back the balance of the time.
North Carolina is recognized.
Again, I want to echo what Congressman Hill just stated for the record. The gentlelady from Colorado has been a sterling advocate for enhanced BSA AML protections and ensuring we get against that we work against illicit finance. And I want to thank her for the efforts, and I'm willing to accept the amendment and urge its adoption. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentlewoman from Colorado. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. It is now in order to consider amendment number 3, printed in Part B of House Report 118-516. For what purpose does the gentleman from South Carolina seek recognition?
Speaker, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 3, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-516, offered by Mr. Norman of South Carolina.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1243, a gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Norman, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes a gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My amendment is pretty simple. It requires the Treasury Secretary, in consultation with the CFTC and the SEC, to complete a study and submit a report to Congress that identifies any digital asset registrants that are owned by governments of foreign adversaries. The report will determine whether foreign adversary governments are collecting or trading personal data about American citizens in the digital asset markets and evaluate whether foreign adversary governments are misusing or stealing any proprietary intellectual property of digital asset registrants. The GAO is required to complete a study and submit a report to Congress on the very same issues. This amendment would promote transparency regarding how our nation's strategic enemies may be exploiting the digital asset marketplace to invade the privacy of Americans and steal valuable intellectual property. In June of 2023, the financial services hearings that focused on the very bill that we are considering today, Aaron Kaplan, the CEO of Prometheum, the first and only SEC FINRA approved special purpose broker-dealer for digital assets, stated that Prometheum and its CCP partners entered into a joint agreement in December of 2018 to develop a blockchain trading system where the Chinese partner took a 20% stake in Prometheum. In case anyone has any doubts about the CCP ties, Prometheum's Chinese partner's company was founded in 1969 by a former senior CCP official. In 2021, the party's Central Committee named a National Excellent Communist Party member. In July of 2023, several of my colleagues and I sent a letter to the SEC and the DOJ expressing our concerns with inconsistencies in Prometheum's public filings and the CCP's ownership of an entity that had the blessing of the SEC and FINRA to operate in the United States. I followed up on this letter in September 2023 hearing with the SEC's Gary Gensler, where he dodged my question and did not take my concerns of the 20% CCP ownership of Prometheum seriously. The fact of the matter is that because Chinese companies are genuinely required by Chinese law to share data with the Chinese government, these companies present substantial risk to the United States individual privacy and our national security. Chinese-owned broker-dealers like Prometheum, Webull, and Moomoo operate as registered entities here in the United States, and the Biden administration and Chad Gensler do not seem to care. Yet they attack American businesses operating in good faith with no regulatory clarity. This is simply how the CCP and other foreign adversaries operate. They infiltrate our markets while the Biden administration looks the other way and punishes American companies who are only trying to operate in the United States but face endless regulations by enforcement of the Biden administration. We need to pass FIT21 into law because the SEC's current regulation by enforcement is putting the United States at a disadvantage and allowing foreign adversaries to gain an advantage in our U.S. crypto markets, all the while Gary Gensler attacks American public companies who have tried to work with the SEC and come in and register. I urge my colleagues to vote in favor of this amendment to protect Americans from having their personal data shared with the CCP and other foreign adversaries. I reserve the balance of my time.
John from South Carolina reserves the balance. Purposes, gentlelady from California.
To claim time in opposition, although not opposed. While I do not oppose this amendment, I would like to emphasize that the broad deregulatory nature of the Not Fit for Purpose Act is such that it would severely weaken our capital markets and make us more vulnerable to bad actors, both domestic and foreign. This amendment and the underlying bill do not protect consumers and investors. This amendment only requires a study on whether or not foreign adversaries are operating as digital asset registrants under the bill and collecting data on the U.S. consumer or investors. We should not just be studying this issue. We should be legislating strong data privacy protections that apply all across the board. Moreover, if TikTok was the inspiration for this bill, I would like to note that TikTok is not directly owned by the Chinese government. The concern was that it was vulnerable to being unduly influenced by the Chinese Communist Party. So if a China-based company was operating as a digital asset registrant under this bill, it would not fall within this study unless it was directly owned by Chinese Communist Party. It would be easy for our adversaries to simply stand up proxy companies that appear to have no direct affiliation with them to evade the scrutiny of the study in the bill. So while I plan to support this amendment, I don't think it provides any meaningful safeguards on consumer privacy, and it certainly does nothing to fix the underlying problems of the Not Fit for Purpose Act. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady from California reserves. Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized.
Speaker, how much time do I have?
45 seconds.
I yield the balance of the 45 seconds to French Hill. Congressman Hill.
Gentleman is recognized.
I thank the gentleman from South Carolina who rise in support of his amendment. It allows me to illustrate two things. One, that Prometheum, while it was approved as a special purpose broker-dealer for digital assets, has not accomplished anything. It has no business. And yet it also has this partnership with the CCP. So there's an illustration that FIT21 would allow us to have the guidance on how to register a broker-dealer. And secondly, I support fully Mr. Norman and his concerns about the influence of foreign adversaries on people registered in the United States. It's a clear issue. We have an investigation going on why the SEC has not pursued this itself. So I rise in support of the amendment. I support Mr. Norman's effort. It's a good amendment. Let's add it to the bill and pass FIT21.
Gentleman's time's expired. Gentlelady from California is recognized.
I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentlelady's recognized.
The bill supporters have claimed that this bill is necessary to provide legal clarity as to when a digital asset is considered a security and when it is considered a commodity. But this bill is anything but clear. It is 253 pages of highly convoluted and poorly defined language. At the Rules Committee hearing yesterday, the Republicans testifying on the panel in defense of the bill could not answer a simple question from a fellow Republican as to whether Dogecoin would qualify as a security or commodity under this bill. They pointed to their 5-part decentralization test in the bill, which is again anything but clear. The current test for determining whether something is a security is called the Howey test. It has stood the test of time with guidance from the SEC clarifying its application, in addition to decades of case law expounding on how it applies to a variety of different assets. Even the courts have agreed with SEC's interpretation of the Howey test, classifying digital assets as securities in a strikingly consistent manner. The 5-part decentralization test in this bill has not been tested, and it would create a slew of new litigation trying to decipher how it applies. And so, instead of a study, we should remember that the fact that members of Congress and legal experts are struggling to agree on basic facts about what this bill would do just foreshadows the mountains of litigation that this bill would result in to figure that out. This bill provides the opposite of legal clarity. As the bill supporters claim, instead it provides several more convoluted and untested definitions to replace the time-tested Howey test in place today. The only thing clear about this 253-page bill is that it will result in the substantial deregulation of crypto, just as the crypto industry has asked for. I reserve the balance of my time.
Time's expired.
I will yield 1 minute to Mr. Sherman.
Gentleman from California is recognized.
This amendment gives the illusion that it prevents the bill from being useful to our foreign adversaries, when in fact we see Iran using crypto to avoid sanctions, North Korea profiting from crypto. We see Hamas raising huge amounts of money and being able to sneak around our efforts by using crypto. And finally, we see the crypto advocates viewing this bill as their ticket to move crypto into a competitor with the US dollar. And then finally, with tomorrow's bill, they try to hobble the dollar by saying it can't be digital and we can't have a better payment system involving the dollar, and that's their system for having crypto outcompete the dollar. The administration opposes this bill, and even if you looked at it a few weeks ago, it's gotten much, much worse. I want to reemphasize, they added a new title that allows crypto to be completely unregulated and would allow for non-regulation of our stocks and bonds. So even if you like this bill when you saw it 3 weeks ago, vote no.
Gentleman's time has expired. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from South Carolina. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The opinion chair of the ayes have it. And the amendment?
Vote is requested.
Pursuant to Clause 6, Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by the gentleman from South Carolina will be postponed. It is now in order to consider amendment number 4, printed in Part B of House Report 118-516. For what purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 4, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-516, offered by Mr. Perry of Pennsylvania.
Resolution 1243, gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Perry, and a member opposed. Each will control 5 minutes. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer a simple but important amendment. While the underlying legislation allows the Commodities Future Trading Commission the authority to regulate digital asset spot markets, nothing in the bill should be construed as giving the CFTC power beyond digital assets. We all have seen good intentions around here, and nothing is punished like good intentions around here. So let's just make clear what the strike zone is for everybody. We're trying to define that strike zone. This amendment adds a sense of Congress that nothing in this act or any amendment made by this act should be interpreted to authorize any entity to regulate any commodity other than a digital commodity on any spot market. That's it. That's the whole thing. Again, this amendment simply aims to combat mission creep, if you want to call it that, somewhere outside the strike zone, and makes clear that Congress's intent is to only address digital asset spot markets in this bill and no more. So the courts won't have any questions. Mr. Gensler can't say, well, I'm not sure they did this, so they surely must have meant that. No, we cannot allow these agencies to take more and more power in the absence of express congressional approval. We've already seen Mr. Gensler aggressively pursue litigation against the crypto industry, people trying to do it the right way. While trying to rein him in, we ought to ensure the CFTC knows exactly what they can and cannot do, because he's not going to be there forever. There's going to be some next person that's going to come along and say, well, Congress wasn't really sure. We are sure, and that's what this amendment does, Madam Chair, and I reserve the balance.
Gentleman reserves. For what purpose? The gentleman from South Dakota seek recognition.
Must consent to claim time in opposition, though I am not in opposition to the amendment.
Will suspend. This is the gentlelady from California seek recognition.
I rise and claim in time to claim opposition.
It is recognized.
Under H.R. 4763, crypto that is deemed to be a digital commodity would come under the CFTC's purview, which would include a new explicit authority for the CFTC to regulate crypto spot markets. However, this amendment would ensure that this new authority for the CFTC to regulate crypto spot markets does not include traditional commodity spot markets. It's already bad enough that this bill would result in mass deregulation of crypto and even some traditional securities too. This amendment takes the bill to the next level by trying to preemptively block the CFTC to oversee non-crypto spot markets. The bill's supporters continue to insist that this bill is only about crypto, but it has serious implications for traditional securities. And with this amendment, would now appear to have serious implications for traditional commodities also. It is wholly unclear why Republicans will place so much faith in CFTC to police the spot markets of digital commodities, think that this agency is unable to oversee the spot markets of everyday commodities they currently regulate, like oil, wheat, and livestock. Excessive speculation in spot markets of tangible commodities is a real problem that can harm working families' budgets. For this reason, Democratic CFTC Commissioner Christy Goldsmith Romero has called on the CFTC to study excessive and harmful speculations in the commodities markets. Specifically, she has stated, and I quote, "The CFTC has an impressive surveillance program and an equally impressive cadre of commodity markets experts to rely upon as it seeks to understand these pressures of working families, farmers, and producers. We should use them more and more publicity," unquote. I agree with her. I urge you to stand up for working families and farmers by leaving the CFTC's existing authority to protect them from speculation in the traditional securities market fully intact. So I urge my colleagues to vote no on this amendment. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized.
I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman, my friend, Representative Johnson.
Gentleman from South Dakota is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I want to first commend the gentleman from Pennsylvania for his thoughtful and forward-looking amendment. Now, I think it's important that we set the record straight. This amendment would not, as some have alleged, strip the CFTC of all of its spot market regulatory authority. All of the anti-fraud and anti-manipulation powers that they currently hold would remain in place. This sense of Congress simply makes it clear that within FIT21, that those do not provide the CFTC with grand new authorities over non-digital asset spot markets. And I think it's important we do that. There are clear and important differences between the traditional spot markets for commodities. Think about people buying and selling barrels of oil. That's not something everyday Americans are doing, but we do have everyday Americans engaged in the spot market for digital assets. Also, with regard to digital asset commodities, we also have a number of intermediaries that would be interacting with these retail consumers. Some of those intermediaries would certainly hold the cash of consumers either pending or after a trade. That's an important situation that we need to protect for that is not exactly like that in the traditional commodity market. So different marketplace, different threats, different set of tools. As the chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee, I want to make it clear I support the gentleman's amendment. I do not want any part of FIT21 to change the CFTC's authority over digital, non-digital asset commodities. I commend the gentleman for his work, and I urge a yes vote on the amendment. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman reserves.
Reserves.
Gentleman from California is recognized.
At the Rules Committee hearing, Republicans revealed their true intentions with this bill. My friend, Mr. Norman, stated regarding the investors who were defrauded by FTX, what he said was this, and I quote, "I blame the investor. I mean, would I get on an airplane with 2 wheels missing and 1 wing? They should have done their homework," end quote. Representative Austin Scott of Georgia on the Rules Committee doubled down on this kind of victim blaming, saying that he believed we should use a buyer beware approach. This is entirely offensive to consumers to simply say you should have known better than to get defrauded. The very definition of fraud implies that the consumer could not have been expected to know or understand some facet of a contract. But I would venture to say that this bill is even worse than just a buyer beware approach. This bill creates a facade of regulation that is designed to make ordinary investors and consumers think they are protected and that their investments are safe. But in reality, this bill will facilitate and legitimize fraud rather than warning consumers to beware of the risk. In addition to blaming millions of defrauded investors, Republicans continue to move forward with a bill that exempts these same crypto firms that were unlawfully issuing or facilitating crypto securities, giving them a get-out-of-jail-free card. This is what Republicans love to do. They blame consumers and investors who have been defrauded while also advancing bills to protect those same firms that are ripping off consumers and investors. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized.
I yield the balance of my time to the gentleman, Mr. Hill.
The gentleman from Arkansas is recognized for the balance of the time.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I thank the gentleman from Pennsylvania for his constructive amendment. I think it's the absolute right approach. I want to associate myself with the comments from the chairman of the Digital Assets Committee for the House Ag Committee, Mr. Johnson, on that. Look, Madam Chair, colleagues, FIT21 does exactly the opposite of what has been argued by the minority today. It gives a clear regulatory framework. It prevents fraud. It does require registration, custody, capital requirements. It gives clarity for the first time in American history to how we do securities and commodity oversight for digital assets. And the minority has also charged time and time again that somehow there are great securities loopholes being offered and opened in this bill. That's just not true. It's just not a factual statement. The term investment contract is a fungible digital representation. It is not all these other items. In fact, the bill specifically says the term digital asset does not include notes, stock, treasury stocks, securities, security-based swaps, and a whole list. So it does not open the loophole that the ranking member of the Financial Service Committee charges. I urge a yes vote. I urge a yes vote for Mr. Perry's amendment. Let's have regulatory credibility and clarity for a competitive United States in the 21st century. Yield back.
Lady from California is recognized.
I yield the balance of the time to the gentleman from California, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from California is recognized for the balance of the time.
This amendment illustrates the problem. Commodity other than a digital commodity, but any commodity can become a digital commodity. Or you can have a contract or a derivative tied to the physical commodity that now becomes a digital coin. We're told that the bill does not allow stocks and bonds to be digital assets, but it does allow them to be defined as investment contracts. And if you get defined as an investment contract, you're without regulation. As to the underlying bill, keep in mind, the administration opposes it. 3/4 of Democrats voted against it before it got much worse. The bill got much worse a few weeks ago, so if you studied it before then, and I know the bill's been out there since July of last year, your analysis won't show you how this bill now allows digital crypto to go without regulation and opens the door to taking our traditional stocks and bonds and taking them out from the SEC. Vote no on the amendment, but especially
Gentleman's
vote no
time
on the
has
bill.
expired. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Pennsylvania. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.
The vote is requested.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from California seek
To
recognition?
request a recorded vote.
The ayes and nays have been pursuant to the clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on this amendment offered by the gentleman from Pennsylvania will be postponed. Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, proceedings will now resume on those amendments printed in Part B of House Report 118-516 on which further proceedings were postponed in the following order. Amendment number 1 by Mr. Cesar of Texas. Amendment number 3 of Mr. Norman of South Carolina. Amendment number 4 of Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania. The chair will reduce to 2 minutes the minimum time for any electronic vote after the first vote series. The unfinished business is the request for a recorded vote on amendment number 1, printed in Part B of the House Report 118-516 by the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Cesar, on which further proceedings were postponed and on which the noes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will redesignate the amendment.
Amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-516, offered by Mr. Kassar of Texas.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 15-minute vote.
All right. So we are watching this all play out live alongside you as we track the votes to this First Amendment after what has been more than a few hours, coming up on hour 3 of back and forth in the House. Heated exchanges there between Republicans and Democrats, led by
sorry guys, hold on,
of the House Financial Services Committee, Representative Patrick McHenry from North Carolina, a man I've interviewed before. Good guy, honestly, I think it's fair to say. Going up against Maxine Waters and the Democrats. We heard multiple times.
Hold on, guys, I'm getting it back up.
Brad Sherman.
Oh, this damn Mac.
Been against crypto. And we've got a couple amendments to go through.
How do I get my...
So if you're wondering, good sweet Lord, how long is this going to drag on?
How do I get my other screen? Sometimes there's 2 screens.
I would have thought
I just lost it.
A little bit quicker than this, but it is not exactly a sprint to the
We'll get it figured out. Hold on. Stay with us.
Back and forth. The key thing to watch, though, and why I think today is so important, as we highlighted earlier with Perry and Boring on the show, was more around how many
Three-finger swipe
break with this vote relative to how many broke last week.
Thank you.
Of course, last week, the bill that rebuked the SEC in the way that they've been handling crypto, received 21 Democrats in that vote. Here today, we're waiting to see exactly how many break with the party this time around. Perrianne said maybe we'd see 50, maybe we'd see 60, maybe we'd see 70. If we do see that many Democrats break, that would be a pretty high number. That would be enough to, I think, push this across the finish line, maybe expeditiously get it brought up in the Senate. Of course, right now there is no companion bill in the Senate. A lot of people are making a lot of the fact that President Biden did not come out and threaten a veto as this bill, FIT21, is debated in the House. Part of the reason why he might not do that just so early is that it still needs to make its way through the Senate. So there's still a lot to be discussed as we're waiting now on these votes to see these amendments. Still a lot of the sausage making underway at this stage. So probably just a little bit early for President Biden to come out so strongly and say that he would veto this. But you did see some of the strength coming from Maxine Waters and Brad Sherman, two of the leading anti-crypto members of the House, go into swing and bat against FIT21. And we'll see how this amendment shakes out. This is kind of a delay by the Democrats right now in the way that they've brought these amendments and called for these votes specifically, I think, to maybe drag this process out. Maybe potentially hoping that some of us on this stream lose attention, lose focus, and say, there's a lot of other things I could be doing today. I don't want to watch this. But no, you're here with us on Coinage, and for that we thank you. You are riding with the only Web3 outlet that is owned by our NFT holders, and I want to give a shout out to our existing NFT holders, including the co-founder of Netflix, for making this all possible. We could not be here without you, so thank you for scooping up those NFTs that help us put on a show and run Coinage Media. Want to give those thanks, of course, and you can join our project to unlock your path to membership by going to coinage.media and checking this all out. As we've been tracking, this is just one new development in the way of the breaking down, the disintegration of the anti-crypto army led by Senator Elizabeth Warren. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing that play out in real time, including what I think has now hit the SEC when it comes to the way that they've pulled an about face on approving the Ethereum ETFs. We're waiting to see more details around that. As we've already been tracking, essentially the fact that the 19.4Bs have been filed, and now just a waiting game for as soon as tomorrow to get those approved by the SEC and potentially then open the pathway for Ethereum ETFs to start trading, who knows, maybe next week or just slightly after that. So it's pretty interesting to speculate, as we did earlier in the day with Perrianne Boring, about how much of what happened in Congress maybe pressured the SEC in terms of, is President Biden really going to veto what just passed with bipartisan support in the House and the Senate? Because that would be a bad look politically, as he's also now having to weather the storm of President Trump leaning into crypto. Yesterday, accepting donations in crypto, which, to be fair, might be made a little bit too much of because he's using Coinbase Commerce. You could have used Coinbase Commerce, as I did, as a lot of people did back in 2018, to accept crypto. That option has been on the table for now more than 6 years. So I don't know how big of a deal it is that here in the year of our Lord 2024, a presidential candidate has woken up to the fact that they can accept political donations in cryptocurrency simply by using Coinbase Commerce. But nonetheless, people are excited about that, so we have to mention it. And when you put all those pieces together, if you are a Democrat, perhaps one that is up for re-election and one that does not want to go on the record as being anti-crypto in 2024, then you might understand the pressure that's now facing some of these politicians as they grapple with how to vote on bills like this one that we're discussing today that would essentially open up an alternative pathway. Perhaps it's important to maybe highlight what FIT21 actually does, because everyone's kind of broken up into their pro-crypto, anti-crypto stances, but perhaps it's worth mentioning how long this, attempt to really get this bill on the floor and debated, as we're seeing play out today, has been in the fold. It's taken months. Shout out again to Financial Services Committee Chair Representative Patrick McHenry, because this is one that he's worked on pretty, his hands have gotten dirty. He's called out SEC Chair Gary Gensler a number of times in testimony, asking him point blank, is ETH a security or is it not, and holding his feet to that fire to get an answer on that question, essentially proving the need for something like FIT21, which essentially, boiling it down, would open a pathway for crypto to be regulated more heavily by the CFTC, establish rules for when exactly a cryptocurrency is deemed decentralized enough to not have to worry about an overhang of running afoul of securities laws, and more clearly delineate where the CFTC takes over and what the SEC's role in all this is and where its powers stop. As we've seen, without a rule like FIT21, without a bill like FIT21, you really could have someone weaponize the SEC in the way that Gary Gensler has in 2024. And so that is why we're seeing Republicans and Democrats come together today and spend hours, as we are now, Texas just 4 minutes away from 3 hours on the stream in terms of the back and forth. And again, if you're just joining us, there have been a lot of, I guess, misreporting around the votes thus far. If you're just joining us, FIT21 has not passed yet. We are merely in the amendment phases right now. And the 3 votes that happened before this was a roll call vote to just get to this stage. So if you're seeing anyone say that, that FIT21 has already passed, you can be smarter than them by saying, no, it hasn't. We haven't gotten to that point yet, because good Lord, there's still more debate to be had here. So that's where we're at right now. We're about, I guess, according to this clock, 7 minutes away from reading the updates in terms of how this amendment will go. It sounded like, based on the yeas and the nays verbally, that Amendment 1 will not pass. This was introduced by the representative from the great state of Texas, which would change the crowdfunding exemption from this. Basically, his amendment would try and bring it back down to $5 million, more in line with the exemption for how much someone can raise in a regulated securities offering, I believe, right now, versus the $75 million cap that is the language of FIT21 as it stands. You heard Congressman McHenry try and say that, look, you're taking a stance that people don't know what to do with their money, more of a nanny state stance, and for that reason you want to bring the cap down to 5 million from 75 million. But if you take the stance that people know what they're doing with their money, then let them go ahead and have a higher cap. And so, again, this is very early in the stage for where a bill like this, goes. Not completely unexpected to see amendments like this be thrown in the final hour. But if you consider that this is just the first amendment and there are 2 more amendment votes to go after that, if they all take this long, you're looking at another 15. That's an extra 45 minutes before we get to the vote, ladies and gentlemen. So keep that in mind if you've got afternoon plans like some of us here today do, and maybe how long we're going to go on this. And if you're in the chat, go ahead and throw out some questions in there, maybe even hit us in the replies, because if no one really has any, I'm beginning, Texas, to question maybe how longer we can go here. But if people want us to keep going because we've already been at it for a few hours, then by all means, let's keep this train rolling on the tracks, because we got more people joining the stream as we speak. I think there are a couple questions coming in as we continue to chat about FIT21. And also, if you're watching the stream, you can head to Coinage.media to join our Discord, because we like bringing people on the live streams and welcoming guests as well. We've had a few congressmen and women. We've had Commissioner Peirce pop on. That was scheduled. She didn't just pop on because she was watching it. But you know what? Always an open invite for her to join us. If you haven't yet followed Coinage Media, go ahead and follow us as you watch the stream, because we highlight things like this all the time and bring you the breaking news. And that is the most important headlines from around the world, not just highlighting the great reporting from our friends over at CoinDesk and elsewhere, but really our own original reporting and interviews as well. Anyways, back to news of day. We are continuing to track what's been developing. I want to check in, Texas, I don't know if you can see my screen or if there's any ability. I think every time we do this, it doesn't really work out as well as we want it to. So I don't know if I want to go for it necessarily right now, but I do want to check in on prices, because as we've been tracking all this, it's been a hot run to Ethereum. And we talked a little bit yesterday with Travis Kling just about how much more momentum there could be in the price rally that we've seen, because Ethereum over the last week is up about 24%. And he basically referred to last week as the most important and positive week for crypto in history. And I do not think that is hyperbole. We both agreed that it essentially was. Today, Perry Ann also took that position in terms of what has happened in terms of all the roadblocks in DC, if you think about what Senator Warren has been trying to do with her quote-unquote anti-crypto army, all falling apart in just basically the last 6 or 7 days ever since that vote in the Senate saw some pretty key Democrats. We covered that vote live here on Coinage as well, including Majority Leader Chuck Schumer breaking from the Biden-Warren-Gensler anti-crypto alliance. And that's pretty insane to think about, given the fact that, as Perry Ann pointed out earlier today, that's only happened about twice in the history of government in the U.S. when you have a sitting president and majority leader in the same party, to have your Senate leader break from your ranks and say, look, I know you might veto this, but I'm going to go ahead and vote in favor of it anyway, and really press the issue. You've got a lot of reports right now of people in the Biden administration raising concerns about how far astray from the public they've now shifted. If you were in New York today, you would have seen Coinbase out there handing out free slices of pizza in Washington Square Park. Our own Nate Skid from Best Dish Ever was over there as well, looking at that and documenting it, because there's a groundswell right now in this country in terms of people who are pro-crypto. And finally, they've broken the levee in Washington, D.C., and we are seeing continued results stem from that in this election year. And it's kind of curious. I wonder how much of that Trump might lean into next, because if that's what's happened in a week, what happens in 2, 3, or 4 before we get to the debates, and how much more pressure is added on President Biden to shift his policy in how anti-crypto he had been, and how quickly he changes his tune. Regardless, if you're just joining us right now, I want to get you up to speed on exactly what we're all watching play out here on your screen. If you're looking at what we've been covering today, this is the vote measure right now on Amendment 1, introduced by the representative from Texas, potentially limiting the cap that can be raised in token sales from 75 million as it's originally scripted in the bill to $5 million. You heard Representative McHenry say that that's a bad idea. And right now, of course, the Democrats are supporting this amendment. Republicans, I think, based on the way that we're seeing this all play out, also taking the nay side. This one is unexpected to pass and become language in FIT21. And this is just the one amendment. The other two that remain to be discussed is Amendment 3 and Amendment 4. And those were introduced on a few different topics. Amendment 3, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just scrolling back over here, is on the idea of the Bank Secrecy Act, elements of that to make sure that rules are still properly followed in the way this flows. And the other one is an amendment introduced, I believe, by the representative from Pennsylvania, adding a couple of other things. To be honest, probably won't pass either, because as we know, right now the Republicans are in the driver's seat here. And nonetheless,
guys, they're going to be coming back here in about 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I just want to give you guys some clarity. My apologies when we started the stream. By the way, appreciate everybody being here. My apologies when we started the stream. I was reading some things that basically had this. Okay, FIT21 bill to allow CFTC oversee digital assets passed in the House. This was not the actual FIT21 bill, and I saw it a few different places, right? Pass. This was only the consideration that had passed, and we're currently in the House right now for the voting. If it got through the House, it would then go to the Senate, okay? So again, my apologies. I'm not a person in Congress. I was going off of two, what I thought were pretty good sources. I got super excited, spoke a little out of turn, but now we've made sense of it and we've clarified it. Thanks to Coinage for broadcasting this live, and we've been able to kind of hang out with you guys here. So that's what's been going on. If you guys are still rocking with us, that's where we've been the last hour and a half. So I just wanted to clarify that. Again, my apologies. I got it super excited. I read it in 2 places where I get a lot of news all the time, actually 3 or 4 places. But this whole thing is very confusing. All right, this is still a long process as well in terms of if this thing will get passed. And keep in mind, guys, it's a bill that would give us clarity. It would basically give more control to the CFTC. It's not the end all be all. It's not the, oh my gosh, crypto's done if this thing doesn't pass. It would just be great if it does. Okay, it would be awesome for us if it did get through, because it would give us, obviously, it would give the CFTC more power than the SEC, which would be really good considering how the SEC during this regime has handled crypto regulation. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. All right. So I just wanted to say, apologize if I spoke a little too soon. I saw some people. I think we kind of figured it out as we went through. But yeah, appreciate you guys for sure for being here and rocking with us. And yeah, I mean, listen, no matter what, we've got Bitcoin ETFs, we've got Ethereum ETFs. It's a slow process when we have something like crypto that's changing the entire financial system. This would just be unbelievable to get through because it would basically put a limit on the amount of control that the SEC had in handling the current issues that we have right now in the cryptocurrency space. So obviously this is a big deal. We've got the Ethereum ETFs. A lot of filings came through today. That was big. We're going to be getting Ethereum ETF and Bitcoin ETF in the UK, their version of such. That news came out. So very, very bullish on that front and all of that. So if you guys want, we'll continue going on with the stream and continue to stay locked in. If you guys want me to continue here, they're going to get back here onto it. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe down below, and throw some hundreds, throw some hearts in the chat so I know you guys are still here. And appreciate all the people that have tuned in for the first time here on the channel. Make sure you do subscribe. We're here every single day. We're trying to make sense of this cryptocurrency world together, and we're learning and growing and getting better and better. So yeah, we will continue on the stream, and appreciate you guys for being with us. Just wanted to clarify that. That is the news we had. Initially, we thought the FIT bill was actually, that had passed. That was just a consideration. And again, even if this were to pass in the House, it would then go to Senate. It's a long, dragged out process, as we know. So appreciate you guys. We'll go ahead and listen in here to what they're saying.
But Tom Emmer's normally the guy who's really pro-crypto. French Hill, I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game. I didn't know that you were like that. So we got a couple other pro-crypto friends that have been really leading the charge here in getting this across the finish line. Of course, I think it's a testament to the work of how many advocates there have been in DC trying to educate politicians to really understand what's been going on, as we have at Coinage Media, calling out every time that Gary Gensler has lied about things, including one time in front of the House itself, where he testified about crypto's role in the collapse at Signature and Silicon Valley Bank, and the immediate fact check that happened the next day from Adrian Harris from the state of New York, saying that he was essentially extremely stretching the truth, if not lying, in trying to pin all of that on crypto. So it's important to stay, attached to all this and watch it play out. But right now, we have a single Republican vote for this amendment, 110 in the nay camp, 90 Democrats have cast their vote for the yeses, and unclear exactly how many might join the nays on this amendment. A bit futile in the way of casting votes for these amendments, but you got to understand why they're doing it. Makes sense if you're Representative Waters, Maxine Waters that is, and you want to either A, drag this out, or B, really figure out where the pain points are in a bill like this, I presume.
So they're currently voting on just an aspect of the bill. This is just an aspect of the bill, okay?
Can be challenged in votes to come, and maybe potentially give some negotiation power to Democrats in the Senate should this bill pass and be moved over there. Keep in mind, that is how Congress works, ladies and gents. Saw some confusion earlier today around a potential veto from President Biden on this win, and it would be a little early for that to happen. It's got to make its way over to the Senate, figure out which amendments might be marked up there, and then potentially later on, we would have to worry about a veto from President Biden. But nonetheless, that's kind of where we're at right now. I believe we've got more than 42,000 views on this one at this point. Shout out to Jen Sanassi, who's just commented on the post as well. Appreciate that. It's a solo show here, ladies and gents, so it's just me talking right now as we try and get closer to the vote because it's taking a long time. And if we stop, we'll lose everyone who's got us to this point. And I don't want to do that. We've worked too hard. We've worked too hard to get here, Texas. We can't quit now. Anyways, outside of that, if there are no further questions, we might just turn you back over to the House as we await the full read of the votes. The next thing you should expect, by the way, in this vote, I feel like I'm working for C-SPAN now, is you're going to expect to see potentially 2 more amendment votes if they want to call for them. Who knows? Maybe Maxine Waters, after seeing this play out one time, might just say, you know what, that's okay. But we still have 2 amendments to get to before the final FIT21 vote between Republicans and Democrats to see if they best what they were able to do last week in getting 21 Democrats to break from their party. That vote to rebuke the SEC's SOB 121 bill that essentially made banks can't touch crypto, and then also have to hold one-for-one reserves for crypto, which everybody hated. That bill passed 228-182 in the House. So those are the numbers to compare to in this one. House resolution. Which one is this, Texas? I always want to get the number right. We don't show up to get the number wrong, I'll tell you that much. That's not why I got out of bed in the morning. HR 4763, FIT21's official name. All right, we're going to turn you back over to the ambient noise in the House. You won't need to listen to me anymore, but you will need to listen to the final Amendment 1 roll call, and we'll get that very soon.
All right, guys, so as we awaited, of course, I'll turn it right back over there as soon as we have something. But yeah, these are just the amendments right now on the FIT21 bill right now. There's a couple of these, it sounds like, before the actual voting will take place on FIT21. Now, again, there was some confusion, a ton of confusion, actually, all over social media, and including, I got caught up in it too. That was just the consideration that passed by the count of, I think it was 204 to 203. A lot of people, including myself there for about 10 minutes, thought that it had passed and the CFTC was going to be taking control. Hopefully we get to that point eventually, but that is not the case. We don't know exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to play out. So I'm still here with you guys. Hey, listen, I'm just a normal dude, guys. I'm learning every day. I'm not claiming to have it all figured out or be the dude that is some crazy analyst that has just like all this foresight and is just the, whatever. I'm just a dude, man. I got into crypto just like everybody else 5 years ago, and I'm navigating these waters. So I do know one thing. I'll be in this space every single day. I'm here every single day, create content. I never take a day off. So if you guys do want to subscribe to me and learn together and grow together, I will be here every step of the way, and we'll continue to kind of break things down and learn together and become wealthy together. That's the overall goal, right? So this is what we're doing right now. We're awaiting them to come back here on screen and continue this. So this is what's happening right now. We're awaiting them to come back here on this part of the bill, which is amendment number 1, on agreeing to the amendment here, and that's what we're waiting for. So appreciate you guys for being with us. The time has been up for a while, so they should be coming here very, very soon. As we await. And welcome in if you're just tuning in. Yeah, I guess the time on the clock doesn't mean anything there, Joe. Guess you're right, huh? BTC's dumping a little bit. Let's take a look. Yeah, Bitcoin. So right now, if we take a look at the overall markets, guys, as we await them to come back in here, yeah, we do have, here, hold on one sec. There we go. Should be a little bit better there. Okay, yeah, we do have Bitcoin selling off a little bit here in the last hour, going back down to 69K. And Ethereum holding pretty steady right now. Let's see, Dog with Hat still leading the way. Book of Meme and Jasby in the green. Gala still in the green, but yeah, markets are turning a little bit red here. Nothing crazy. Actually still up on the day, though. Still up 0.29. Christian, thanks so much for the 99-cent donation. Appreciate you, man. First super chat on stream. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for being here. Again, guys, if you're just tuning in, my name's Zach. I'm here in crypto every single day. If you guys want to subscribe to the channel and navigate this crazy space together. I'm here every single day. Would appreciate you guys. And again, don't claim like I've got it all figured out or anything, but we've learned a lot in the last almost 5 years. And I was able to do this full time after my first year in crypto, and I got super lucky. And a lot of people have grown in our community together, and it's been absolutely amazing. So we have an unbelievable community of people here on YouTube and X. My Twitter's down below if you guys want to join me there. We do a bunch of Twitter spaces and things like that. Totally free. Just follow me on X and you'll know when I'm doing Twitter spaces and things like that. So yeah, appreciate everybody being here. What's going on, everybody? We're still waiting. We are still waiting for them to come back here for final decisions. Show vote? Yeah, I got you. Maxine Waters said Dogecoin. I know, dude. I just liked it. Yeah, thank you so much for the super chat, Jamie. Yeah, that was hilarious. The classic Dogecoin, right? The classic Dogecoin from the boomers. So yeah, there's 0 time remaining on the clock. We're just waiting for them to come back up here. First they pass amendments, then they pass bills. Correct? Yeah. Yeah, and the first go at it was just a consideration to basically bring this to the House, and that's what was confusing because there was a ton of people saying that the FIT21 bill passed, and it was just the consideration to pass. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I got fooled too. I got excited really, really fast because I saw it in like 4 or 5 different places, and I got super excited. I went live and I got really fired up because if you guys understand what the SEC has done to our industry, they've just not allowed us to innovate. So I got super excited. But then 10 minutes later, I finally realized, okay, here's what it is. It's the consideration. Then you go through these amendments. Then you go through the bill itself. And if this were to get passed in the House, then it would go to the Senate. But even if this doesn't get passed, guys, again, this is something that, I mean, we just kind of go back to where we are, right? I mean, it's like, and we've still flourished even with the SEC. That's what's crazy. Even with the SEC and doing what they've been doing, we've still been able to flourish, and this would obviously help us tremendously. And we'll see, we'll see what happens. We'll see how this plays out. So appreciate everybody for being here. Shout out to CoinAge for broadcasting this on Twitter too. And I was just able to share this with more people and get more people insight here. And appreciate you guys hanging out with me here while we await them to come back. And just want to say too, thank you to all of the new people who found the stream, the new people who have subscribed. If you guys do subscribe, ring the notification bell so you know when I go live. I go live a lot. I do a ton of videos here daily on the crypto channel. So yeah, definitely give us a subscribe. And we're here every single day. So Roger, thank you, man. Thanks for being here. Yeah, this isn't a thing like where I'm going to sell all my crypto if this doesn't pass, right? It would be awesome if it passed. It'd be great. But I mean, if not, we just kind of go back to square one, and it's kind of the same thing, that we had before. So yeah, it would be amazing if it passed. Obviously, I would love that.
Have all members voted? Does anyone
All right, so I think they're making sure everybody's voted here on amendment number 1 on agreeing to the first part of the amendment here. Appreciate everybody here. So we are waiting here for them to come back. So thanks for being with us. If you guys could hit that like button, it will help get more people to come in and see this. If they're, people in crypto, this definitely is something they want to see. And also subscribe to the channel. To be honest with you, I didn't hear the beginning of what this amendment is. So this is an aspect. This is just like one little aspect of the larger FIT21 bill. But I don't know exactly what this part of it is. This Part B amendment number 1. I'm hopeful they'll highlight that again. But again, remember, this is not the actual FIT21 bill. It's just a little piece of it. So like to make an amendment or like a change, right? Because they said this bill was like 240 pages long, right? So they have these amendments where it's like, this is something that we want to make a change to. This amendment would mean you couldn't if yes. Okay, thank you, Clayford. Oh yeah, this amendment would mean you couldn't make the changes if yes. Appreciate that. And we are still waiting for them to come back. Santiago, this is the House voting on the pro-crypto bill, FIT21. But if it were to pass the House, it would still go to the Senate. So there's like a lot of steps if this were to go through. But the problem is the House is majority Democrats, right? And they're very anti-crypto. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's going to be a long shot. That's why I was shocked when I saw the 204 to 203 score. But again, we've learned right after that that was only the consideration that passed. It was not the bill itself. Marco, thank you so much. Watching from the Netherlands. We've got a lot of people watching from all over the place. Zach, it's an amendment lowering market cap to 5 million instead of 75 million. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate that. What exactly about the market cap, though? Like, give us more. If you have more details, Jamie, that would be awesome. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some expert when it comes to the law and all this, when it comes to this side of it, like all the political jargon and just nonsense. It's like, just create a framework where people can innovate in this space already, you know?
Understood. The yeas are 204, the nays are 209. The amendment is not adopted. The unfinished business is the request for a recorded vote on amendment number 3, printed in Part B of House Report 118-516 by the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Norman, on which further proceedings were postponed and on which the ayes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will redesignate the amendment.
Amendment number 3, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-516, offered by Mr. Norman of South Carolina.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 2-minute vote.
Okay, so now we have a 2-minute vote. That's good, because that last one took a lot longer. Okay, so I'm looking here to make sure I fully understand what just happened for us. I want to make sure I get the information right here. If somebody in the chat already has this insight, I just want to make sure that.
Okay, we just saw there the First Amendment get voted down, not approved as expected. Amendment 1 introduced from a representative from Texas to cap the amount of crowdfunding exemption change in FIT21. He's trying to keep it at $5 million, which would match what's normally done in registered securities offerings, matching it in the crypto space. Not happening in the way that vote went, so sticking with the $75 million in terms of the cap for a crowdfunding sale in the digital asset space as written in FIT21. And now we're moving on to amendment number 3. Luckily,
that's good.
We're not giving people 15 minutes to vote on this one, so this one's 2 minutes. We're watching the clock there now hit 40 seconds, so we'll step aside momentarily to see the results from this one. But this one overwhelmingly looks to be approved. I don't think we need to wait much longer, but the final tally, of course, will come in a bit. Overall, this is around amendment number 3. This one came from the representative of South Carolina. This one was on studies of foreign adversary participation in general. I believe this one was to track what's going on in terms of people outside the U.S. who are entering this space and making sure that nothing happens from, again, foreign adversaries.
Okay.
And what's going on with crypto in the digital asset space.
So that would be kind of more bipartisan.
So hopefully we can smooth things along.
That's why this is going to be a quick vote.
If you're just joining us, these are amendment votes, folks, so not yet at the point to see who's going to win in this battle to have pro-crypto and anti-crypto forces come together in the final vote for FIT21. We're going to get this amendment vote read. Potentially, I believe, one more to come here, amendment number 4.
Yeah,
and
both sides are going to support
vote,
this.
We can all be on our way. Let's
Yeah,
turn it back over to
it's a clean sweep. Clean sweep. Basically, they don't want foreign adversaries getting into. Yeah. There you go. The first one was good, which was in the FIT21 bill. So it'll stay at 75 million in terms of crowdfunding raised. That was amendment number 1, and that's a good thing. That stayed within. That was something that stayed in the original document in FIT21. This is amendment number 2, or excuse me, amendment number 3, Part B, amendment number 3. Who was Norman of South Carolina.
This vote, the yeas are 408, the nays are...
Okay, 408 to 0. And welcome in everybody that's new. Make sure you guys do hit that like button for us. We are breaking things down for everybody, trying to make sense of everything in real time. Trying to do the best we can, okay? I just wanted to bring you guys the information. Make sure you guys had a place to hang out and get the information. Sorry for the little bit of confusion at the beginning of the stream. Everybody got a little excited. That was just the consideration for the bill. That was not FIT21. FIT21, though, will be voted on later throughout this stream. So, yeah, that's what we got.
The yeas are 411, the nays are 0. The amendment is adopted. The unfinished business is the request for the recorded vote on amendment number 4, printed in Part B of House Report 118-516 by the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Perry, on which further proceedings were postponed and on which the ayes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will redesignate the amendment. Amendment number 4, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-516, offered by Mr. Perry of Pennsylvania. A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 2-minute vote.
Well, Jeff, it's not fully bipartisan.
There you heard heard the reading again for the final 2-minute vote on amendments. We've been now covering this since 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We are now on hour 3.5 to get to the finish line.
Yeah, shout out to these guys.
We
Shout out to
expected
CoinAge.
maybe a much shorter vote in the House than it has become, but nonetheless, fireworks on both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, raising their issues around whether or not we should proceed with an alternate path than what has existed in the U.S. under SEC Chair Gary Gensler for crypto, constantly having to worry about securities issues and whether or not they do fall under the classification of a security. This here is amendment number 4, as you're seeing, introduced by Representative Perry from Pennsylvania. This one, I believe, actually had a few, well, this one's a little bit more contentious than the last 2 amendment votes that we saw. The first one, of course, did not pass that resolution to drop the cap from 75 million to 5 in terms of token sale proceeds from crowdfunding. The last amendment was an overwhelming 411 to 0. That amendment was adopted, Amendment 3. That one had more to do with foreign adversaries and the idea of foreign companies operating in the digital space. So that amendment, not very contentious. This vote, though, with 30 seconds remaining, a little bit closer. Amendment number 4, if I'm reading this one correctly, is tied to a sense of Congress. The sense of the amendment here is that it is the sense of Congress that nothing in this act or any amendment made by this act should be interpreted to authorize any entity to regulate any commodity other than a digital commodity on any spot market. So clarifying kind of the idea between the SEC and the CFTC. Of course, that's what this bill is all about, is the idea of who should really be overseeing the digital asset space. More the SEC or more the CFTC, which is generally more pro-crypto and crypto friendly. So this amendment kind of drawing a little bit of a line in the sand around the sense of Congress. And right now, 223, though these votes are shifting.
I'm still not sure what this exactly
223
is.
to 185 leads you to believe that the yeas would have amendment number 4. After this amendment, though, this is the last one before we get to the final vote for FIT21. You heard, I think, a few congressmen and women who are getting a little bit antsy, a little bit anxious down there on the floor because they too have been there for 3 hours plus, waiting to see which way this vote's going to shake out. Again, the number to watch, 21 Democrats, is the last time we saw pro-crypto and anti-crypto forces battle in this chamber of Congress. And that's the number to beat, is if Republicans can get more than 21 Democrats to break from their ranks to show that they indeed want to change from the way that Gary Gensler has been running this, the way that the SEC has been overshadowing really the entire crypto industry in the U.S., and if that happens, the momentum of the pro-crypto army...
No equals SEC stays in power.
Could be potentially the last day that we are wondering whether or not EPTS...
Yeah, that's kind of what I've gathered here.
On that front point to if they're coming tomorrow.
It looks like yes would give the CFTC more power. I don't think all the power. But, yeah. Yeah, he's talking about VanEck deadline for the Ethereum ETF is tomorrow. Yeah, we've known that. And ARC is on Friday. So a vote yes here basically says, hey, the CFTC needs to have some power here. And right now, yes is over no. And there even are 13 Democrats who believe yes. Here you go.
The nays are 191. The amendment is adopted. There being no further amendment under the rule, the committee rises.
This limits this law to crypto only, not creeping into other commodities. Good for us. Thank you, Kevin.
Madam Chair.
Madam Speaker, the Committee of the Whole of the House on the State of the Union has had under consideration H.R. 4763 pursuant to House Resolution 1243. I report the bill is amended by that resolution back to the House with sundry further amendments adopted by the Committee of the Whole. This is fast as I can read.
The Chair of the Committee of the Whole House on the Slate of the Union reports that the committee has under consideration the bill H.R. 4763 and, pursuant to House Resolution 1243, reports the bill as amended by that resolution back to the House with sundry further amendments adopted in the Committee of the Whole. Under the rule, the previous question is ordered. Is a separate vote demanded by any further amendment reported from the Committee of the Whole? If not, the Chair will put them in gross. The question is on the adoption of the amendments. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The on engrossment and third reading of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Third reading.
A bill to provide for a system of regulation of digital assets by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission and for other purposes.
The question is on passage of the bill. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is passed, and without objection, a motion. For what purpose does the gentlelady from California seek recognition?
Asking, requesting a recorded vote.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
Okay, if anybody wants to help me out in what we just saw, I think our guy from CoinAge could help us. Maybe he's trying to make sense of it. I just want to get this information out to as many people.
And here we go, the final reading of H.R. 4763.
Okay, so basically it was
the final
just
vote to provide for a system of regulation of digital assets by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission.
Oh, wow.
And the
We
Securities
are getting
and
some
Exchange
yeses
Commission,
from the
of course,
Democrats.
otherwise known as FIT21. The vote finally now underway after 3 amendment votes were called to order. We're now in the final stretch, the final inning to see if this
is the big
does
one,
indeed
guys.
pass the House, and already
Wow.
you can see the vote streaming in there at 180 in terms of Democrats breaking from their ranks.
Wow.
We're wondering, was this number going to be 40? Was it going to be
It's already
50, 60,
42.
70? Again,
We
another
want
boost
yes.
From last week's vote rebuking the SEC's handling of crypto in the U.S. was 21 Democrats already. Right
Wow.
now, we are at double that. So already this is another big win for Republicans and pro-crypto forces as we see these vote tallies come
Oh
in.
my goodness, over 50
Pretty
Democrats.
surprising, to be honest with you, after
Wow.
all of this and the way that this back and forth has gone. You've seen in person the dwindling of the ferocity of anti-crypto Democrat in the House, which just makes zero sense about crypto.
Wow.
Mongoose coin and terrible examples time after time.
Yeah, that
And
dude with
anyone who
Mongoose
understands anything about crypto has begged the microphone.
Wait, is it
to
a done
die
deal?
Whenever Brad Sherman speaks about crypto.
Landslide.
And he did it again today, but I think that actually may have hurt Democrats in the way that this vote has gone, because you got 60 breaking with their ranks on FIT21.
60 people breaking.
4763 here. 197 Republicans, now 61 Democrats. Again, this is kind of
This is insane.
Marianne, who was there when Sob 21 or Sob 121 got voted against in the House, in that she was able to attract, and again, not just her, but everyone who was really pro-crypto and educating congressmen and women.
Wow. Guys, welcome into the stream. This is what we've been waiting for. 63 Democrats have flipped party lines, voting yes for FIT21.
This anti-crypto army is. That was
People are saying it's already passed. I don't know if it's actually legit. Hold on, let me see.
Elizabeth Warren. Fascinating to see this fall apart. And so,
Guys, welcome into the stream. Make sure you smash the like button. Get some more people in here. This is monumental.
I was not expecting this many Democrats to break from the ranks.
Wow.
Of course, just a limited number of votes still remaining, but this is going to pass, folks.
Yeah, this is going through.
Vote, as I said, was 228 to 182. I mean, this is, I don't think it's unfair to say shocking how quickly this has turned.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Crypto,
this is huge.
exciting for you because so many people have said this is too good to be true, that you could have potentially had Chuck Schumer break from President Biden after he threatened to veto the last rebuke of the SEC. That rarely happens. The fact that you could potentially
Unbelievable.
see another House vote with 67 plus Democrats breaking from that Biden-Gensler-Warren anti-crypto alliance. The momentum continues.
NVIDIA is sending, by the way, after hours, up $54.
Saying he's going to accept crypto. You know, you could debate how big of a deal that is, but in general, this is kind of shocking to see play out.
Wow, this is crazy, guys.
And on top of that, you got the ETF applications potentially coming through as well. So,
well,
I want to check the markets because I'm kind of curious.
Well, we spoke too soon beforehand when I went live, and I said that this is why the Ethereum ETFs were going through. And yeah, well, I think it's coming to fruition because we have had a ton of Democrats flip. 68 Democrats thus far, guys, have said yes on this.
Just to kind of look at
68 Democrats have already said yes on this. Unbelievable. This is a landslide victory. Landslide. Okay, so, man, this feels amazing. Holy shit. Welcome in, guys. We've got a ton of people on the Democratic side voting yes for FIT21. It's not official yet, but it's about to be. And this is huge. This is huge.
So I might step aside and just watch this with you in silence.
This is crazy. Welcome in, guys. Final tally's close. 208 Republicans, yes. Only 3 Republicans said no to FIT 2021. On the Democratic side, 70 said yes. That's huge, guys. 70 said yes to 133. They're going to come up here, make it official. Stay with us. We're going to talk about it. Let's hang out together here for a little longer. What an amazing day in crypto. Here you go. They're getting ready to speak.
On this vote, the yeas are 279 and the nays are 136. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Wow. Wow. It's a huge win for crypto. Now, to my knowledge, guys, this will now go to the Senate. If somebody else wants to jump in, make sure I'm accurate, make sure I'm right. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just a dude like you guys. I'm just a person who sees the value in crypto, baby. And this is huge. LFG, Irwin, HP. Tonight's the night to crack a beer, crack a beverage. Now this will go to the Senate next, but wow, I'm sorry, I can't even control the excitement. Slowly but surely, we are shifting toward a more crypto-friendly environment in the United States. It's about damn time, guys.
All right, there we go. The final vote tally, 279 to 136. An overwhelming rebuke of the way that crypto and digital assets have been policed in the United States. No other way to classify it than that.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking, guys, to say the least. What an amazing day. All right, hold on. Ooh, yeesh, ooh, yee. Wow. What is up, guys? What an amazing turn of events here. This has been huge. Huge. This is what we need in order for people to work in the United States, to operate in the United States freely, and to innovate. Wow. Huge day, guys. Let's take a look at the overall market here. What's going on? All right, now crypto's starting to turn green again. Bitcoin and Ethereum both reversing fields a little bit, getting back in the green. Everybody was waiting on this FIT21 bill. Wow. Guys, we've been here for, I don't even know, 2+ hours. Thank you guys so much for listening, for hanging out with us. Make sure you hit the like button, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. This is huge because it basically gives more power to the CFTC and allows a big conversation to be had about regulation in crypto.
70 Democrats, the final vote. I'll read it one more time if you're just joining us.
Wow. This is in the House.
An overwhelming show of force for the Pro-Crypto Alliance in Washington, D.C.
Unbelievable.
More than 70 Democrats, that is, break from this anti-crypto army. That's going to do it. If you're just experiencing Coinage for the first time, I thank you for watching this with.
And by the way, guys, I want to give a shout out to these guys who streamed it. Guys, make sure you go give them a follow. This is how we brought it to you guys. Coinage, they were awesome. The first community-owned Web3 media outlet backed by Netflix's co-founder. Amazing job there. So that is, again, Coinage. Go check out Coinage, guys. Awesome. That was unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. What a freaking day this has been for crypto, guys. Man, this feels good. This feels good, doesn't it? The tides are changing. The SEC will have far, far less power than they once did because this is going through. Now the FIT21 bill has passed. Lots more Democrats have approved this than originally thought, guys. This is what the shocking part is. We did not think this many Democrats would approve this bill. We are pleasantly surprised. Wow. Well over 70 Democrats flipped party lines here and voted on this. The bill to develop a regulatory framework for digital assets has passed the House by a landslide vote. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Huge. Huge. Now it is official. Unbelievable. It passed. Unbelievable, guys. Welcome in. So glad you guys rocked with me. If you guys just tuning in, welcome in. Unbelievable, unbelievable. What a time here to be in crypto. There's just so many things happening at once here. As if you guys are just tuning in, the United States House passes the FIT21 crypto bill, which is a cryptocurrency regulation bill creating a path for crypto to be exempt from many securities regulations if they achieve a sufficient level of decentralization. That is even a further breakdown for you of what this means. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is huge. The final vote, by the way, for FIT21, the crypto bill, which just passed in the House by a landslide, the final numbers, 279 to 136, with 71 Democrats voting in favor. That is more than triple the SAB 121 Democrat vote, which was 21. Unbelievable. Unbelievable news. Awesome news here. And again, if you guys are just checking in, this is the biggest crypto legislation in the United States thus far. A lot of people aren't talking about this. We know the Ethereum ETFs are a big deal. This was probably even a bigger deal because no matter what, an Ethereum ETF was coming. A Bitcoin ETF was already here. But what about how we're going to regulate the space? What about the framework that we are going to have? Well, 71 pro-crypto Democrats, far beyond what anyone hoped for. A huge vote of confidence for crypto in Congress. And the anti-crypto army is not happy today. Now, again, this is just the House vote. As people have been saying, the Senate vote will be next. I'm not quite sure when the Senate vote will be. If somebody could track that down and throw it in here, we'll see. But unbelievable. And shout out to Patrick McHenry and everybody who worked on it. Let's see when the Senate vote will be. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Senate vote for FIT21. Okay, let's see what we've got here. If FIT21 is voted and Gary Gensler is gone from, okay, voting now. Okay, so yeah, they voted for the amendment changes. The real vote went through. We know that. Then they go to Senate. Then it goes to the president. If this passes the House, the Senate and president signs it into law, and the president, the Senate and the president signs it into law, and America goes under the commodities regulator, not the security regulator. So if this passes through the Senate and the president signs it into law, bye-bye Gary Gensler. If this happens, though, we still need these two steps. We still need the Senate, and we still need the president to sign off on this. Then it's bye-bye Gary Gensler, bye-bye SEC, bye-bye crypto haters. And this, no matter what, an extremely bullish day, guys, for crypto. Very, very bullish. If it does not get through the Senate and or the president, they try again. There are many bills coming up for a vote that are very similar, but looking at the support today of the Democrats, this is very, very, very good news. Very good news. And what it tells me is There are a lot of great individuals and great people on both sides of the political aisle who see the merit that crypto has, who see the value in this asset class, who want to see America be first in innovation. And it's nothing against anyone else in other countries, but as an American, like, we take pride in innovating and technology and entrepreneurship. And it's been so frustrating watching Gary Gensler and the SEC push back on our entire industry for years and years, and what they did with Ripple and what they've done with Coinbase and all of these great companies that are trying to innovate in this space. This is a great step in the right direction here today. And again, I'm not quite sure when the Senate vote will be. I don't even know if there is a date yet, to be honest. Okay? I have no idea. Let's see. So FIT21 is passed. Let's see here. The vote on the actual bill. Now it's on to the Senate. I've not seen a date yet on that, though. Okay, I've not seen a date. Brad's saying CNBC. I'm sure they might have it, huh? They might have it up. But we've been going for a really long time. I do want to try to see if we can get any more information here coming in. If not, man, this has been a beautiful day. This has been a beautiful day. Unbelievable, huh? Wow, this is great. 71 Democrats joining 208 Republicans passed the FIT21 bill. What a day, guys. This is a massive win for bipartisanship and clarity in crypto. Now we have to go to the Senate. And I see Pepe down there. The Pepe community, y'all are strong. Pepe to the effing moon, $50 billion market cap. Let's frickin' go. Congrats to everybody who worked on this. Glenn Thompson, French Hill, Warren Davidson, Dusty Johnson, Tom Emmer, everybody who put this thing together, who made this thing a reality here today. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is a huge, huge political moment for crypto, as the SEC obviously has been lobbying Congress to say no, right, to this. And this anti-crypto insanity has to end. It has to end. And now we'll go to Senate. This is a huge win, another huge, huge win, a huge day for the entire cryptocurrency space. Guys, it would mean the world to me, guys, if you guys do subscribe to the channel. We've been breaking this thing down for, I don't know, almost 3 hours now. We've been live trying to make sense of it. There's been some ups and downs. If you've been with us for a little bit, you understand. We're just doing our best, but I'm here every single day. I love this cryptocurrency space. I love all of you. I love everybody in this space. I want to see everybody win and flourish and thrive. And it would mean the world to me if you guys do decide to subscribe to the channel and rock with us here as we continue to navigate this crazy crypto space. You know, like all of you guys, I come from very humble beginnings, and just seeing this as a way forward and being first and being a first mover in this space has been nothing short of amazing when I started, 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago now. And man, it's just been unbelievable to be right here at the forefront of this huge digital revolution. And I just think it's going to get a lot more exciting from here. So appreciate you guys more than you guys know. If you would, definitely subscribe. Amazing. And please, guys, don't spam the chat with Pepe, okay? Like, don't, just be respectful. Appreciate that. And literally, thank you guys so much for being here. Wow. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot more coming. Crypto Priest, thank you so much for the donation there. Appreciate you. I see that. Appreciate you, man. Oops, sorry if I deleted a message there. I didn't Substack, been here since the beginning. Thank you, Mr. Random Z. I accidentally deleted your chat, but I saw it. Sorry, I was trying to like the other one right above you. Roger, thank you for being a member here on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. This is a huge win for crypto. If you guys are interested in learning more about my journey, about how I see the markets, about news, info, subscribe to the channel. I do have some links down below if you want to check out XT Algo. It's my trading indicator. If you want to trade with me over at Margex for leverage trading, check out all my affiliates. I've got a Patreon. You could check all that out if you want to. This is free though. Just hanging out with me, smashing the like button, subscribing. That's all I ask. You could check out all the other stuff if you want to. You don't have to. And I just appreciate everybody out there. So the Ethereum ETF deadlines, tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow is a big day. We will see. But, you know, who knows? There's a lot of paperwork still to be filed. We'll see how it all plays out. We have ARC on Friday. Tomorrow is VanEck. Deadlines. Even if it doesn't get pushed through this week, guys, the Ethereum ETF, we know that this is extremely bullish still. We also know that eventually it's coming. We're going to get an Ethereum ETF. It is on the table. We know it's right here. If it doesn't come tomorrow or Friday, don't freak out. We're okay. It's coming. And this space is evolving. It's innovating. It's changing. And we're right here at the forefront and the precipice of something extremely special. Extremely special. So it's amazing what we're witnessing right now as FIT21 has passed. Absolutely incredible. What a time to be in this space. What a time to be alive. What a time. What a time. What a time. What a time. Junior, thanks for the donation there. I appreciate you. Does this fast track the Ripple decision? Good question. We'll see. We'll see. The struggle has been real, but it's going to be worth it. I think we're close to the Ripple decision anyway, but I do think this helps us 100%. It helps us in the Coinbase lawsuit, the Ripple lawsuit. Obviously, right? This is major. This is major. Will Gary deny out of spite from this bill? Who knows and who cares, right? Crypto Chris, that's right. Who cares about that guy? That's where I'm at, brother. History in the making. Yes, Zenga, definitely history in the making. Guys, what a beautiful day. What a beautiful, beautiful day to be in this space. This is a watershed moment for the United States digital asset ecosystem, guys, as the House passes the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. The FIT21 goes through the House, overwhelming bipartisan support. Next stop is FIT21 in the Senate. I'm not quite sure if we actually have a deadline, a date for that. Let's see here. They might have one. I don't think there's a date set for it to go to Senate. Let me ask, date set yet for it to go to Senate? I'm going to ask some folks. I'm going to ask some folks on X, and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of that. I'm going to ask a bunch of people. Is there a date set yet for Senate vote? Huge though. What a day, guys. What a day. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing day. And again, if you guys are just tuning in, the U.S. House has passed FIT21. It'll now go to the Senate. Whew. The pendulum is swinging back in our favor. And crypto is being looked at as a legitimate asset class for the first time since I've been in this space in 5 years. If this thing goes all the way through, this would just be massive. No matter what, this is a huge watershed moment. But if it goes all the way through, SEC oversight would be gone. Crypto regulation would be here. More authority would be given to the CFTC, which is far more crypto friendly than the SEC. Far more crypto friendly. Amazing. This is what we want. More regulatory clarity, more consumer protections, and a place and a space to innovate is what we all want. And this is a step forward, a big step forward in the right direction. Guys, huge, absolutely huge day for the space. Man, what a time to be in the space. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. Definitely subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. You don't want to miss out on what we talk about every single day. I try to bring as much value. I'm literally no days off, guys. Saturday, Sunday, you'll always find some value on this channel every single day. Follow me on Twitter as well. There's links down below to my X. All right, guys, I want to show you guys this. That's me on X. It's at Z_Humphries right there. Make sure you're following me the right one. I got a little over 97,000 followers. Follow me on X. We do Twitter Spaces. We break down the markets all the time. We talk to a lot of smart people, way smarter than I am, and I'm learning from them. You're learning from them. That's what we want to foster on this channel. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Email your senators. Crypto Chris, you're right. Now it's going to the Senate. Email your senators and let your voice be heard, ladies and gentlemen, if you live in the United States. Yes, what a beautiful day. What a beautiful, beautiful day. A landslide victory for all of us in this space. So guys, I got to get up on out of here. We've been on the stream for 150 minutes. I don't even know how long that is. But thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you guys more than you know. Hit the like button on your way out. Please consider subscribing to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. I show up here every single day in this space. I absolutely love what I do. And yes, love you guys. We'll see you. Thank you, bro.